From sending an innocent NBA mascot to the ER to allegedly sexually assaulting a woman, here's why fighters are over Conor McGregor. We're kicking things off with Ben Askren, who really wasn't feeling McGregor's antics at the NBA Finals. Context? Well, Conor has really been popping off, except it's not in the cage. Let me set the scene. It was Game 4 of the NBA Finals between Denver Nuggets and Miami Heat, where mascot Bernie came at McGregor. And you know Mystic Mac does not back down from a challenge. Naturally, he cooked up a classic McGregor special. The crowd was going wild. McGregor was looking dapper in that red tracksuit. And our man Bernie, hey, Bernie, are you in there? Yeah. Bernie actually got knocked out cold, and not too long after, he was rushed to the ER. Oopsie, that did not go as planned. As social media was up in storm, some were applauding Conor for his showboating. Ben, on the other hand, said what fighters have been feeling about Conor. He tweeted, "This is the most training footage I've seen from Conor in a long time." Oh, snap. Now, Ben is known for his outrageous trash talking, but this one right here really made us think. All of Conor's training footage are basically him flexing, showing off his juiced out guns, but more on that later. Right now, I'm just questioning whether he still remembers how to fight, and no. Having impromptu fights in the basketball court with mascots don't count. The last we saw Conor in action was against Dustin Poirier at UFC 264, you know, when he tripped over his severed shin bone. It's understandable Conor needs to take time off to recover, but let's not forget, he's gotta face Mike Chandler. Sure, Conor may have titanium screwed into his leg, but Ben is iffy if he still has the goods to take on iron. Honestly, I can't seem to disagree. If you think about it, we haven't seen Conor be the same since the Khabib fight. That monumental night at UFC 229 really changed the UFC forever. Where Conor was once the cover boy of the promotion, he was reduced to being a laughingstock. All that trash talk leading up to the fight, all the political and low-key racist slurs amounted to nothing. In the end, he was compromised, on the mat and on the receiving end of a Dagestani beatdown, being told, "Let's talk now." After that fight, Conor returned to fight cowboy Donald Cerrone, which he won via TKO, but there was something off about him, and at the Poirier fight, our fears were validated. Conor seemed humble, more of a family man. That drive was missing in him, and naturally, Poirier made sure he was punished for it. UFC 264, Conor tried to bring that arrogant, notoriously loudmouthed kingpin in him, but his legs quite literally gave out. It's been 2 years since his last fight. That's 730 days of recovering, partying, a shitload of proper 12 whiskey, and why, yes, juicing. Here is another major concern that has completely changed fighters' outlook on Conor. When there were rumors surfacing of McGregor's return to the octagon in 2023, Conor hit social media, flexing his new gains, and Joe Rogan was all on his bullshit. On his podcast, he literally claimed that Conor's pee would melt a USADA cup with all that roid in his system. I mean, it wouldn't take a lab test for someone to tell that the notorious one has more juice than a Capri Sun. You may think, hey, what's the big deal? As Nate Diaz famously said, everybody's on steroids. Dude, let's not be ignorant here. Whether Conor was just riding up to recover or not, if he has something shady in his system, that really takes away from his credibility. Don't believe me? Let's hear what the highlight Justin Gaethje has to say about having a possible clash against the former double champion. Justin told MMA Fighting that he has absolutely no interest in fighting him. Wow, this is crazy for a number of reasons. First up, Justin isn't one to back down from a fight. This guy literally launches himself onto his opponents without any concern for his own safety and has been dubbed as the most violent man in the UFC on numerous occasions. So to say he's ducking is just out of the question. Also, the man literally snubbed a fight proposition against the face of the UFC. I mean, Conor is Dana's boy. As soon as you know you're in a main event with the Irishman, it's only natural for your eyes to be lit up by dollar signs. And considering how Gaethje has revealed he's only got so many years left in him, getting that cash grab would have made sense for him, right? Right. Well, Justin has ditched the fight proposition for one reason, and for one reason only. It's because he wants a fair fight. He revealed how he knows Conor is off steroids, but he hadn't been tested by USADA for a very long time. He just wants a fair fight. The only way he's willing to take Conor on is if he's given the green signal to use the needle as well. Do you see why this is a problem? Gaethje made sure he highlighted, no pun intended, the fact that he's never used PEDs his entire life. Why? Because to him, health is the biggest factor. This isn't the only reason why the situation is embarrassing for Conor. It's because he's looking like a complete hypocrite. When Rogan constructively criticized Conor for possibly using steroids, the man clapped back at the commentator, who really means no harm. He legit, later on in his podcast, made a point to mention how gruesome Conor's injury was and that PEDs might be necessary. Rogan admits using PEDs himself, but still, Conor childishly clapped back at the podcaster and made the claim that his could melt his shorts away. Things got so bad that Conor actually had to address all the allegations against him, which he did in a very simple tweet, letting the fans know that those gains were merely a result of forged Irish stout, some good old Irish beef served on a hot stone, some title spray for the pain, and why yes, some of his proper 12 whiskey for a shameless plug. Okay, we'll take your word for it, Conor, but hold up. Why'd you duck the USADA pool? That's right, as the clock kept ticking away, as did every episode of The Ultimate Fighter, everyone had their eyes on the calendar and whether or not Conor would step into the USADA pool and get himself tested for PED. And lo and behold, Michael Chandler was posting a video on social media asking, "Where the fuck is that guy?" That's right, this is where all of the allegations seem to have found their confirmation.
All right, guys. You guys have all seen the news. Conor's not in USADA.
If Conor really didn't have any fun stuff in his system, there would have been no reason whatsoever for him to miss the USADA pool. Even Dana White was under fire for Conor's antics, and you really can't make the boss look bad. People were calling the UFC prez out for staying hush-hush on Conor's PED abuse, when he's been pretty vocal about using illegal substances. Conor single-handedly set the UFC offices on fire. Why? Because it put the most blockbuster pay-per-view of the year in jeopardy. Seriously, Conor versus Chandler was set to score well over 2 million buys, and by the looks of how things are right now, it just seems like a lost cause. Since when did Conor go from being the biggest cash cow in the business to being the man who's literally making them lose money? And to top it all off, we can't end the video without talking about Conor's wild allegations. That's right, I'm talking about that very night at the NBA Finals where McGregor allegedly sexually assaulted a woman. The accusation came via a demand letter sent straight to Conor by the unidentified victim's attorney, Ariel Mitchell. Apparently, Conor violently assaulted the claimant, and warning, the details are pretty gruesome. Conor is accused of grabbing her, pinning her against the wall, amongst other acts, which includes spitting too, by the way. Even though all the allegations have been denied by Conor's legal team, the leaked clips online suggest otherwise. In one particular clip, we see the Irishman escorting the victim to the bathroom, wearing a black t-shirt. The footage ends after the door closes. According to the claimant, she didn't even realize who was escorting her until she saw the video, all while Conor had a big smile on his face. Okay, enough with the details, cause this is just sick. Look, needless to say, Conor has gone off the rails lately, which is just sad to see. He was known as Mystic Mac, doing the Billy Strut, a man with class, principles, and wisdom that would inspire upcoming fighters. Guess Colby Covington was right. The man is nothing more than a joke and a laughingstock in the UFC. It's hard to see him coming back from all this. As for the Chandler fight, as Dana said, guess we'll just have to wait and see. So, from allegedly sexually assaulting a woman to sending an innocent NBA mascot to the ER, that was why fighters are over Conor McGregor.